up to the gates in 1600 on the map. Supposed to be the people's house, I make it like a trap. Marble floors and chandeliers, I'm balling to the wall. Power to the people, yeah, I gotta make that call. Trapping for the team, red and white and blue, that's me. Voices on the block, I'm breaking through, I got the keys. I'm in the lobby, yeah, I'm moving like an OG. Posted in the Oval Office in the executive suite. Signing for the fam, yeah, you know my game is strong. Freedom is the banner and I got my chains on. Secret Service watching snipers sitting on the roof. Truth is hitting hard, I bury you inside the booth. Founding father's vision, now I'm flexing with this cash. Big pharma, big tech, turn these dreams to bags. I'm the voice of the hood, trying to come and storm the gates. Balance in my hands, but the system's overweight. They painted white, yeah, but the stains running deep. Promise they selling it, but you know it ain't coming cheap. Legends walk these rooms, Lincoln, MLK, now it's photo ops. Power plays all day, I'm trapping for the vote. Big Zeus, it's the people's house. Big Zeus, you already know one. Power's in the air. Big Zeus, we knocking on the door. Big Zeus,
we wanna hear your song.
Who you think they asking for? They asking for that smoke.
Good morning.
People are them players, yeah, y'all think this is a joke. Take it back and write the code. 1600 got your soul. Put my portrait on the wall, they staring at me like I'm cold. Greatest story ever told, I will never ever fall. I'm trapping out the West Wing, doing deals all in the dark. Make your dreams come true, all I need is a spark. Red phone ringing, but you don't know who is on my line. Got the Constitution speaking, yeah, you know I'm so divine. No stains on my kick, and the rally outside, and the gates.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Power never divides. Roll the block, head buses make them wanna fight. 1600, do it all day, all night. People house is a trap, got the power, get it back. Money talk, loud, time to clap. Fight for the keys, that's a fact. It's a rap, I'ma bring it back. It's the people's house, power's in the air. It's the people's house, we knocking on your door. Big Zeus.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we are back in the Thunderdome. Let's get this show started. You know exactly why we are here.
Yeah.
You know why we are here?
I feel like I'm stuck in a cycle. It's like I'm stuck in time.
Yes.
It's like a curse.
Please.
And I can't escape it.
Share the live, ladies and gentlemen, because we don't got all night, all morning to do this.
It's deja vu when I move. I'm like the Terminator screaming, I'll be back. It's deja vu when I'm out here flying. Class, this week I gotta take out the trash. I'm on top of my game, ahead of the class. You can tell that I made it, look at my grass. Cars in the garage, the tanks full of gas. I play the game so raw, I won't finish last. Sitting in my living room screaming,
Morning Bambi, Eugene, Lady Rima, Kitty Cat,
that I will really turn me to a maniac. I guess we going viral cause my Zodiac. I got all these numbers on my spreadsheet. Benjamin Franklin is my bestie. And if they is
Good morning, Vanessa.
They left me. They don't give me promises if they text me.
Here goes Zeus haters.
I say it with my chest cause I mean it.
Come on, Zeus
Got a
haters.
lot of confidence and I'm conceited. Call me the master with a new whip. I'ma take off in a spaceship.
I'll tell you what, I haven't gone into Zeus's live in a couple of days.
You haven't?
That shit was radical.
Oh, it was?
It was horrible. I'm like, Zeus has gone way off.
Oh,
It's like deja vu.
it always
It's like
hurts.
deja vu.
It really does.
It's like deja vu. It's like deja vu.
It really does. All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. Once again, we are back. We are back in the Thunderdome. I am your host. I am your pilot, and you know exactly why we are here. All right. But before we get into that, let's take care of some housekeeping items. For those of you who don't know who I am, I go by the name Zeus, or some like to say Triple H. And why do they call me Triple H, ladies and gentlemen? Well, it's quite simple. The first H is because I'm honest. I'm the most honest person on social media, hands down. The second H is, well, because I'm humble. There's nobody more humble than me. Listen, if I get it wrong, I will be the first to apologize. But here's the thing. Just because your feelings are hurt does not mean I owe you an apology. Most likely it means you need to sit your special behind down, honestly. and continue to listen to the special broadcast. All right. And then the last and the final H, which everyone knows is one of the most important ones, is because I am and will always remain, you've guessed it, the most handsome. All right. Many of you know exactly why we are here. We have to do all we can to stop Donald J. Trump and his legion of MAGA demons from destroying this great country that we've worked so hard to build. I mean, starting with George Washington, you know, I say he's the first sentinel who stood guard over all the factions that were in the United States to help preserve the Union. And then we get to where we're at right now. And this knucklehead Donald J. Trump, I call him a knuckle dragger, and his supporters, these people are worse than primates. I mean, you would think with all the information and technology we have today, these people would actually be able to demonstrate that they know how to make educated decisions, but they clearly don't. These are people who are blindly loyal to Donald Trump, despite the fact that Donald Trump is leading them right off of a cliff. And so before we get started, do I have any Trump supporters out there? Anybody out there still supporting Donald Trump, or have you came to your senses? I'm just wanting to double check. I don't need you to come up right now, but I just need to make sure I know exactly how hot to turn the oven on. All right. Anyone out there still? Yeah. Anyone out there still supporting Donald Trump? Just say, you know, whatever you need to say to identify yourselves, because I don't really need you to come up right now. I'm starting to realize that this show is probably going to start having to go in a different direction where Big Zeus doesn't even need to talk to MAGA. Start having to go in a different direction where Big Zeus doesn't even need to talk to MAGA, because MAGA is defeated right now. MAGA has nothing to offer at this point because they're sitting at home right now trying to figure out which way is up and which way is down. Well, down is where you're at. All right. I gave you the answer to that. And so I'll say this. If you are a Trump supporter, all right, you're someone who voted for Donald Trump, right? And you were promised golden envelopes for Elon Musk, and you're still standing out there waiting for the mailman to drop them off, mailman or mailwoman, go ahead, keep standing there. The checks are on their way. Wink. Or if you believe that Liberation Day was the day you transitioned into the golden age, but now you realize you only transitioned, I guess, one step closer to peacefully entering the afterlife, do us all a huge favor. Why don't you leave this live and go hang out with this guy? His name is Snuggles, and he lost his account yesterday. I don't know what Snuggles did. You could go hang out with these fake TikTok hosts because they'll lie to you. Because they just want you to give them all their money and you know, come watch them lie, all right? But they don't have anything of value to offer, because they like watching your 401ks disappear, right? They like watching egg prices go through the roof, okay? But over here, we won't do that, all right? We're going to tell you the truth whether you like it or not. And what I'm doing is I'm going to ruin your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner, and everything in between. If you don't want to experience that, do us a huge favor. Leave right now, because it's going to get very, very uncomfortable. But get this. You don't got to take my word for it. Listen to your leader.
If you're not happy here, then you can leave. As far as I'm concerned, if you hate our country, if you're not happy here, you can leave. If you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.
All right. And so now, W. Chris in the chat. Thank you. You don't have to, but I appreciate all of you who do support the live. I don't say it during the live when you do it, but I have to lock in and make sure I'm hitting all of my marks every morning. All right. But I wanted to start today's broadcast off with our good friend Lawrence O'Donnell. He's somebody I'm always go to. I'm gonna pass him the rock. He's gonna go ahead and score. You know what I mean? And he's reminding America that Donald Trump, you know, when he was campaigning, you remember this, ladies and gentlemen?
The stock market is only up because they think I'm going to win. And if we don't win, according to many people, including one of the greatest Wall Street prognosticators, Scott Bessent. Has anyone heard of him? One of the most brilliant guys on Wall Street. If I don't win, you will have a 1929 style depression. Enjoy it.
Enjoy.
I believe that.
Oh.
I believe that. I believe it.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know what I always say? Every MAGA accusation is what? It's truly a MAGA confession. Translation, what Donald Trump was saying, MAGA, was if he does win. He was trying to make you think it would be because Kamala Harris. But he was saying, if you let me back in the White House, we will have a 1929 style depression. All right, one like we've never seen before. And I've always said it's going to be a lot different because this one, there won't be any eggs. All right. So Donald Trump has admittedly confessed that he's going to crash the stock market, and his supporters, they know Donald Trump has liars. They know Donald Trump has lied to them and duped them. But guess what, MAGA? You're okay with it because you're not woke, right? You know how y'all like to say that. And that's why I say you won't be woke, but mark my words, MAGA, you will be broke. Enjoy your dear leader.
Was 23 point.
Hold on.
1932.
1932.
In 1932, the unemployment rate in this country was 23.6%. Let me say that again. The unemployment rate in 1932 was 23.6%. We were at the depth of what came to be known as the Great Depression, the cruelest economic depression in American history.
Really?
Starving children were going to bed hungry in this country in 1932. The suicide rate was skyrocketing. And today, the Trump stock market is on its way, according to the Wall Street Journal, to the, quote, worst April since 1932.
Wow.
Prior to the Donald Trump stock market, not a single economic indicator in this country has ever resembled anything in 1932 during the entire course of our lifetimes. But now Donald Trump has managed to bring the stock market back to 1932.
Wow.
The difference between 1932 and today is that in 1932, the only hope, and I mean the only hope that people had in this country came from the newly elected President of the United States, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who was working every day then to lead the country out of that depression, which is exactly what he did.
Wow.
Every president in our lifetimes has always known every minute of the day how to instantaneously crash the stock market.
Right.
They've all known how to do it.
Yeah.
And not one of them has chosen to do that
Except
until Donald Trump.
that part.
Every president always knew that all he had to do to crash the stock market was to take a public swipe
At
the chair of the Federal Reserve,
That part.
who has always been, no matter who it is, more popular with Wall Street than any president of the United States. So for better or worse, Wall Street always respects the Federal Reserve chair much more than they respect the president of the United States. And now that respect gap.
The structured motorized pergola system is
Hold on. We're gonna get it, ladies and gentlemen. Just 1 second.
Is bigger. And so Donald Trump decided that once again today, he would publicly attack Jerome Powell, the chair of the Federal Reserve, who was appointed to that job by Donald Trump in his first term, and then was reappointed by President Biden. That's right. President Biden reappointed Republican Jerome Powell,
Thank you, Biden.
who was originally put into that position by Republican Donald Trump.
Wow.
And so the guy who says he always chooses the best people is now attacking one of his best people and crashing the stock market every single time that he does it.
Lady Boss Mode.
No.
You know what? Let's ask ourselves a question real quick. It just popped into my head. He would rather fire Jerome Powell, who hasn't done anything, all right, than to actually bring that heavy hammer down on this knucklehead right here, this guy right here. Isn't that something, MAGA? He would rather ruin your retirement. He would rather crash the economy than to get rid of the most incompetent Secretary of defense the United States has ever had. Let that sink in, MAGA. Who does he really care about? Think about it. It's definitely not you.
Has ever been stupid enough to do that until Donald Trump. At 9:41 a.m., Donald Trump decided to go on social media and predict a recession, which no president has ever done. No president has ever predicted a recession during their term.
Wow.
So Donald Trump predicted a recession, and then he blamed it on the Federal Reserve chair, saying there can be a slowing of the economy,
right,
otherwise known as a recession, unless Mr. Too Late, a major loser, lowers interest rates. N-O-W, capital letters. Now,
wow.
All those Trump voters who believed Donald Trump was going to make the American economy better all by himself, all of them thought that he was able to do that, and they never once on the campaign trail heard Donald Trump say he could only make the economy great if the Federal Reserve lowered interest rates. Never mentioned that on the campaign trail. But now Donald Trump says, the only I can fix it guy, I can't fix anything unless the chair of the Federal Reserve fixes it for me. That's what he's saying now.
Wow, wow, wow. So look at where we're at right now, ladies and gentlemen. He has another scheme out there he's running on. If I could just get rid of the federal chair, I could fix this country and get rid of inflation. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to do the lake of fire right now. We've heard enough. We know what Donald Trump is doing. He's sending this country into a 1929 style depression at record speed. And on the way there, he's pointing at everyone except him and his supporters. They continue to still believe this stuff. So ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and warm up the lake of fire, because Donald Trump, you all see it. His supporters see it. They're all losing their businesses. Their relationships are all ending. They're crying deep inside, and they have no other choice but to suffer. Ladies and gentlemen, let's send Donald Trump and his supporters where they belong, straight to hell.
Silence, you MAGA Dayton.
Oh yeah, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, they know the end is here and the end is near, and so we're going to continue to hold their feet to the fire. All right, now let's move it along, ladies and gentlemen, and we got to talk about our good friend Pete Hegseth. All right, and I want to get this on the record. This is an uncovered video of Pete Hegseth calling for, guess who? President Biden to be held accountable for handling classified documents flippantly. So you know where we're at right now, but let's listen to how let's just see how open-minded Pete Hegseth was about the media going after Joe Biden during this time. All right, and this is from 2023. We're going to get this on the record.
DOJ and FBI seems happy to take the word of Biden's lawyers, which is why it does feel like it's so much different than what happened to Donald Trump.
Well, look, unless the FBI is paying those personal attorneys, they shouldn't be taking anybody's word but their own investigators in the DOJ.
No.
I mean, that's their job. Unless they're getting paid. And if they are, that would be our money. So maybe we go deeper. I don't think they are. But what else would be the reason for why at this point you don't tap every place he's ever been since he left office as a senator 15 years ago, since you know some of the latest documents date back to then? Why aren't you now going every place he's been? And by the way, who else has been with all those papers? Maybe you have 1,000 places you need to go now, depending on how many hands touched them.
Yeah, I mean, he is the president of the United States, which does create complications. But it also increases the urgency. If the top man in the job was to handle classified documents this flippantly for that long, why was that the case? Was it really that he didn't know? Because when you take something out of a skiff, if you're a senator, you know exactly what you're doing. You know exactly what you're doing.
You had to sneak it out.
And you're moving it, you had to sneak it out. Or someone gave it to you with the wrong protocol, which you were complicit in. And then you don't even know how many you have, and you've clearly hidden them from the public. You're the president of the United States, as was stated earlier by Governor Sununu. If at the very top there's no accountability, why should there be for Christian Saucier, the submariner who took photos in a submarine and didn't even show them to anybody, just had them.
Yeah.
And they wanted to throw away the key on the guy. That's the two tiers of justice that exist. This is going to haunt the Biden campaign should he try to run. Because this connects dots to Hunter. This connects dots to foreign interference or the foreign influence. And if anyone in the press outside of this network actually does any homework, the smoke is right there.
There you go.
The question is, will they do it? And Biden's political opponents know that weakness, and they'll continue to foment it.
There you go. So this is Pete Hegseth getting on Joe Biden, ladies and gentlemen, because apparently he doesn't like the fact that Joe Biden was leaking information through his garage in the Corvette. You know what I'm talking about. And then we can get to where we're at right now today, ladies and gentlemen, where guess what? Pete Hegseth goes on to Fox News, ladies and gentlemen, and I kid you not. I don't know what to say other than, you know what, we're going to go ahead and do the Lake of Fire. But let's listen to what Pete Hegseth has been saying this morning on Fox News, trying to defend himself from the second signal scandal, which we all know has put the lives of millions of Americans at risk. All right, let's see if he has the same energy for this. All right, let's get this on the record and then we'll get to judgment. All right.
Ask the Houthis how he's doing. Everybody's happy with him. We have the highest recruitment numbers I think they've had in 28 years. No, he's doing a great job. It's just fake news.
Well, that was President Trump doubling down on his support for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth 24 hours ago, denying a New York Times report about sharing sensitive information on another signal chat called Team Huddle. Here to set the record straight himself, the current Secretary of State, Pete Hegseth, former host right here on Fox and Friends. Pete, great to see you, Mr. Secretary.
Here you go.
So your thoughts on what's been reporting of Team Huddle and the signal chat that the New York Times says took place between you, your wife, and your brother, and some others.
So, Brian, if you remember when this all started, the first go-around, because this is the second go-around, right? They peddle old stuff, they kick it back up. I said repeatedly, no one's texting war plans. You know why I said that? Because I'm in the bowels of the Pentagon every single day. Just 10 minutes ago, I was looking at actual war plans of things that were ongoing or pending things to happen.
What?
Because that's on a regular basis, on classified systems. That's my job for the war fighters, for the President of the United States. I look at war plans every single day. What was shared over Signal, then and now, however you characterize it,
right,
was informal, unclassified coordinations for media coordination and other things. That's what I've said from the beginning.
Ooh.
At the beginning, it was left-wing reporters from The Atlantic who got a hold of it and then wanted to create a problem for the president.
Right.
This is what it's all about,
right,
trying to get at President Trump and his agenda. Now, here at the Defense Department, because, Brian, I want this to be very clear.
Listen up.
We take the classification of information very important.
Oh.
It's very significant to us that we safeguard it. And so when we had leaks, which we have had here, we did a serious leak investigation.
Oh.
And through that leak investigation, unfortunately, we found some folks that we believe were not holding to the protocols that we hold dear here at the Defense Department. Through that investigation, they have been moved on, and that investigation continues. As a result of that, everything we do here is above board, trying to make sure that we safeguard information.
Okay.
In this point, those folks who were leaking, who've been pushed out of the building, are now attempting to leak and sabotage the president's agenda and what we're doing. And that's unfortunate.
Oh.
It's not what I do.
Got it.
It's not how we operate. And so you've got another allegation being pushed again, not based on...
Does anybody believe what Pete Hegseth is saying? Does anybody believe anything he's saying? The only thing I'm getting from this is that he believes that there's leaks going on in the White House. I mean, not in the White House, but in the Pentagon. So, and I'll actually, I have a video I'll share with you on how to go about figuring out where those leaks are coming from, if you could bear with me. But in the meantime, I want to make sure we all understand just how off the charts Pete Hegseth is with this ridiculous rant that he's giving us. All right, let's continue with this, ladies and gentlemen.
Hold dear here at the Defense Department. Through that investigation, they have been moved on, and that investigation continues. As a result of that, everything we do here is above board, trying to make sure that we safeguard information. In this point, those folks who were leaking, who've been pushed out of the building, are now attempting to leak and sabotage the president's agenda and what we're doing. And that's unfortunate. It's not what I do. It's not how we operate. And so you've got another allegation being pushed again, not based on how we're operating around here. We're for the warfighters, we're for the president, and none of this is based in reality.
So, Mr. Secretary, I guess I can conclude this. We know some bizarre situation with Michael Waltz happened with the first time the whole thing with the Signal app came out. You believe this came out, they said it was called Team Huddle, because one of the people who work for you, one of the three who no longer are there, leaked this out as a way to get back at you?
That's right, Brian. When you dismiss people who you believe are leaking classified information, and again, the investigation is ongoing and that will take time, and when the evidence is produced, it will go to DOJ. It won't surprise anybody, Brian, if those very same people keep leaking to the very same reporters whatever information they think they can have to try to sabotage the agenda of the president or the secretary. So once a leaker, always a leaker, often a leaker. And so we look for leakers because we take it very seriously. And we will do the investigation. And if those people are exonerated, fantastic. We don't think, based on what we understand, that it's going to be a good day for a number of those individuals because of what was found in the investigation.
Hold on,
so if they want to keep once a leaker, always a leaker, often a leaker. And so we look for leakers because we take it they think they can have to try to sabotage the agenda of the president or the secretary. So once a leaker, always a leaker, often a leaker. And so we look for leakers because we take it very seriously. And we will do the investigation. And if those people are exonerated, fantastic. We don't think, based on what we understand, that it's going to be a good day for a number of those individuals because of what was found in the investigation. So if they want to keep leaking and pushing and peddling things that try to sabotage the president's agenda, that's unfortunate. But that's how leaking works in this town. We're focused on recruiting, on rooting out DEI, on securing our southwest border, on the president's agenda, and it's going very well at the Pentagon, and I'm proud of it.
Right. So the Signal app is what everyone uses. We're all finding that out now because of the Chinese have infected and sabotaged, gotten involved in almost every other communications apparatus over the last 4 years. So that's where you're communicating. You say it took place, but there was no classified material in it. Over the last few days, your senior advisor, Dan Caldwell, Darren Selnick, Colin Carroll, who is Chief of Staff, Deputy Secretary of Defense. The other one, Darren, is now former Deputy Chief of Staff, were let go. Did you let them go?
Right. It was a result of an investigation ongoing at the Pentagon where we identified there was sufficient evidence, potentially, again, there's an investigation ongoing that will have to complete itself, sufficient evidence to believe that they or others near them were party to leaking. And then I have a statutory responsibility, Brian, if I believe that's the case, to ultimately ensure they no longer have access to that and that the investigation commences. There are a lot of ways to communicate in this building. I do it every day. I was just doing it this morning. Official channels by which we communicate classified information. If you want to do it and do it the right way, you should. If we think you are leaking to the press, that's a very real problem. We take that very seriously at the Pentagon. I'm here to do one job. One job for the president and the American people. Secure the country. America first. Peace through strength. I don't have time for leakers. I don't have time for the hoax press that peddles old stories from disgruntled employees. We should be talking about the decimation of the Houthis, how we're pushing back the Chinese, how we have a new defense area at the southern border. Instead, disgruntled former employees are peddling things to try to save their ass. And ultimately, that's it's not going to work.
Oh my gosh, ladies and gentlemen, this is Pete Hegseth crashing out on Fox News. There's just one word he keeps saying, and it's leaks. And again, he said he's done an investigation. But ladies and gentlemen, I don't think Pete Hegseth, or Keg's Breath, that's what they call him, or now I see it in the chat, Leaky Pete. I don't think he's actually gone through the actual process that most people understand you need to go through when you got to find a leak. And so what I'll do is I'm going to give Pete Keg's Breath, all right, Whiskey Leaks, Whiskey Pete, whatever you want to call him. We're going to give him some information on how he can go about finding those leaks in the Pentagon, ladies and gentlemen. And you can just go into the internet, just type in, how do I find a leak? And you can find thousands and thousands of videos just like this. All right, we're going to get this on the record, and then we're going to do judgment, all right?
Leaks in it. We're using a pressure. If your house has any leaks in it, we're using a pressure gauge.
Right.
What I'm going to do to check, I'm going to put
a pressure gauge, Pete. All right.
Right on a hose bib that's connected to the building after the house shut off.
Yeah. Okay.
Not before.
This is how you get a leak, ladies and gentlemen. This is how you find leaks.
And then it goes up to 80 pounds. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut off the water to the house.
Okay.
Making this a closed system.
All right.
Now, if this is a round handle and a gate valve, I wouldn't count on that gate valve working very well. So this wouldn't be a good method for having a gate valve. But if you have a ball valve with a lever handle,
okay,
you turn it off, quarter turn just like that,
okay,
and you look at the gauge.
This is serious.
Now, if the gauge starts dropping real slowly right now, water's going somewhere.
It's going somewhere if the gauge
and
starts
you have a leak.
You have a leak.
If the gauge sits there, don't be too quick to judge. Watch that gauge, maybe do a little dither, and I would say 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
If it sits there at 80 pounds or 60 or whatever you have, and you go like this, and for 15 minutes you don't have any needle movement on that gauge, you're good to go.
You're good to go.
No water.
Here it goes.
We don't have a leak here, but we're going to go inside and I'm going to show you what a leak looks like by turning on a faucet, and we're going to see how it shows on
There you go. There you go. So, ladies and gentlemen, what he's showing is, in order for you to find leaks, all you need is a pressure gauge. And Pete, I got the numbers. I did check what's going on with you. And here's the thing, Pete. The gauge is showing that there's around 10 psi every 5 minutes. All right. And so what that says is that basically ties to someone is leaking in the Pentagon and they're using their cell phone. Now, if it was 25 psi or higher, this would mean those would be in-person leaks. All right. And we don't believe, Pete, that the leaks that are coming out of the Pentagon are in-person leaks. They are coming from a cell phone, a mysterious cell phone out there that has an app installed called Signal. Pete, do America a huge, huge favor. Put that bottle down and find that cell phone that has Signal installed on it, all right? And it's actually right under your nose. I just gave you a hint. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and warm up the lake of fire, because Pete Keg's breath, Whiskey Pete, Whiskey Leaks, he is still out here trying to trick everyday Americans into believing that the leaks coming out of the Pentagon is everyone except himself. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what we got to do. Let's go ahead and send Pete Keg's breath where he belongs, straight to hell.
Silence, you MAGA Dayton.
Now that was easy, right? W Zeus in the chat. We got a lot out. We covered Trump trying to crash the economy, and we also covered Pete Keg's breath, our Secretary of No Defense. I'm going to call him the Secretary of No Defense, who is spending a lot of time, effort, and energy looking for a leak that he is the one responsible for. Pete, knock it off. All right, the American people, we do not buy it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go to the box now. We've heard a lot from Big Zeus. It is now time to hear from someone else. If you are a Trump supporter, I'll give you a chance. Please identify yourselves in the chat, and I'll bring you right on up here. We do not have all morning, ladies and gentlemen, but it's very important that we make sure MAGA understands that, guess what? The jig is up. The lies must now end. You have all been exposed for being a bunch of hypocrites and a bunch of liars. All right. Good morning, Gary. Nice to see you. Put a 1 in the chat. Yeah, and I can help you find the leak as well, ladies and gentlemen. I really, really can. It just takes a finger tap, tap, tap. All right, let's go, ladies and gentlemen. All right, I'll start off with my good friend Kabira. Good morning, Kabira. How are you doing? Uh-oh, I think it's trying to punch through. All right, good morning. How are you? Kabira, are you there? Oh, I think you may have accidentally sent one. Let's go. Kabira, send me a guest request again. I think you may have accidentally sent me a guest request. The Last Prophet used to be Triple H, but I took that is what you like to say to your friends, I believe.
I'm always be the big H, but I wanted to ask you something, Zeus.
Yes.
And say hello to the most wonderful person in the world, my nurse. Her name is Miss Ashford. Say good morning, Miss Ashford.
Good morning, Miss Ashford. How are you? Hi, how are you? I'm doing all right. Just out here, trying to save this great country of ours. But, your man right there, he's trying to steal some of my shine, so yeah.
I ain't gonna hold you up long because I know you always got butter for the bread. But let me ask you something, Zeus.
Talk to him.
Yeah, wait, you remember Andy Griffin, right?
Yeah, I remember that. I remember it. I remember the whistling too.
You remember Otis?
Yes. What about him?
Where did they get Otis to run the Department of Defense? That's the town drunk behind you.
I have no answers for that. I really don't have any answers. But let me ask you this: do you feel a lot safer with Otis, or do you feel like we're actually way more at risk with Otis?
Man, look, I wake up every night thinking that sooner or later I'm gonna hear a boom. It's coming. As soon as they're gonna isolate us, he gonna do it. And let me ask you this, shit.
Yeah.
How you a general?
Yeah.
You went through all the classes, all the stuff. I'm sitting up there with a major with a major's uniform on, trying to tell you a general what to do.
It ain't gonna work. You know that.
That look backwards. That look storm backwards.
Yeah, they can only pretend like he's competent for so long before folks are gonna actually start doing what any person natural would do, which is go, that's just too much for me. I can't handle it. And they might actually just start resigning. I mean, that's what I would do.
Yeah, but no, America is less safer. America is the democracy is left the day Donald Trump was sworn in that day.
Yeah,
and he's drunk right behind you. I seen a picture of him the other day. You can tell in his eyes he's drunk there.
Yeah, it's a tough job. You got a lot of people cope with the difficulties of being in the military using alcohol and stuff like that. And I just think that when you got that situation going on, you're not fit to lead the Pentagon. No, you need to be working on whatever it is that you're struggling with.
Yeah, but I got one for you before. I need you to write this down. I want you to check into it. You remember? I think it was the name of I think it was Carol Burnett, if I'm not mistaken.
Who?
You remember Foster Brooks?
No, I don't know Foster Brooks. What about him?
Oh, you got to look that up, man. Foster Brooks. He played the classic drunk. He was looking for the airport one day, and the guy kept telling me, about the airport. And the dude said, "You gonna miss your plane?" He said, "No, I'm actually flying today."
Wow.
That's Foster Brooks also.
You think that's him too? Okay, well, I'm going to check him out. All right, look at a lot of people know what you're talking about. So it must mean, it's a little bit before Big Zeus was actually on the scene. But you know what? I'll take your word for it. All right, brother?
Yeah, so that's why I tell you I'm the original Triple H. You just
I'm gonna need you to stick to doing what you do over there. All right, brother? And we're gonna move it on.
Keep on doing what you're doing too, man.
Thank you.
You're doing a hell of a job.
I'm trying my best, but you know what? I appreciate the humility coming from you. All right, you're getting there. All right. Sooner or later, you'll be able to actually say, you know what? I am the second in line, maybe, to being Triple H. But for right now, you need to leave that to me, Big Zeus. W Zeus. Thank you.
Let me get me a drink of this Prime H2O.
Okay.
Water boy say I'm giving some of this Prime H2O.
All right.
He's drinking all the whiskey. Good. Keep up the good work, brother.
All right. And take care of yourself, all right? Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead. W's in the chat for the last prophet. All right. No lies detected. I mean, these are people. These are everyday Americans that are, getting in the box, and they have something to contribute, something to offer. They see what's happening in this country of ours, and they're connecting the dots. This is what it's all about. Are there any Trump supporters out there that are brave enough to get in the box this morning and to actually try to at least come clean about what's happening in this great country of ours? All right, because we all know Pete Keg's breath. We all know he needs to resign immediately, not the chair of the Federal Reserve. We don't need that man to resign. He hasn't done a thing. But what we have going on with our national secrets, Pete lying about whether or not it was classified information. Stop trying to gaslight the American people and actually start holding him accountable. All right. These people out here, they're going, well, what do you expect Trump to do? We expect not just Trump, but we expect his supporters to actually get out here and start saying you know what, Donald Trump, enough. That's what we expect. You guys got to start saying, enough, Donald Trump. We can only cover for you so much. But then after that, it's time for the rubber to meet the road. All right. Let's see who else we have out there. Let's see. Oh, my goodness. Who is this? Illmatic Skills. Good morning. How are you?
I just messaged him. He said he took an early lunch.
Good morning.
This morning. I told him he won't get probably till 11.
Illmatic Skills, are you there? I could barely hear you. Going once? Going twice. All right, let's go up. Let's go to the next one. John Boy, good morning. Welcome. Who do we have left, ladies and gentlemen? John Boy, are you there? He's on a Zoom call? All right. Well, yeah, if you're on a Zoom call, you can't be on the show. All right. All right. You see, John Boy going once, going twice. Done. All right. We'll move it along, ladies and gentlemen. We will move. Uh-oh, I heard something, but then I actually disconnected you, all right? I built a special wall just for Trump and his cabinets to stand against. Yeah, send another guest request, John Boy. I think maybe I disconnected you before your connection actually patched through. All right, are there any Trump supporters out there? Anyone out there still supporting Donald Trump? Please identify yourselves, all right? I would love to bring you up and figure out what you got going on and how you're coping with the reality that your dear leader, all right, is basically making sure that you all suffer. Zeus, you need your house. You cleaned your house. Oh, what does that mean? What does that mean, Zeus? You cleaned your house. I don't know what that means, but wait, my bad. My phone was in my pocket. I'm waiting on the purge. Oh, okay. I got you. All right, let's see. They're hiding. Yeah, I mean, I think it's safe to say that they realize there is nowhere else to hide with Donald Trump. Yeah, you clean house of MAGA. Yeah, all right, Zeus. I mean, good morning, Dr. Lex. How are you doing?
I think that they're tired of getting cooked over and over again, I think.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, as bad as it gets, and the worse it gets, the less you're going to see them because they're going to start realizing that they screwed the pooch. Oh, there's Your Majesty on here. He says, I never hide.
But the thing about him is he can't have a serious conversation. All right?
He can. I mean...
So it's kind of, to me, it's like, okay, the first couple times, all right, see if he really got something of substance to contribute. But then, you just start to realize this is a person that's full of hate. They don't understand the reason they're upset. And actually, they need to see a therapist now that I think about it. All right.
You know what? I bet Pete Hegseth's liver looks like a football.
You think so? That's bad.
I mean, the thing is the irresponsibility of someone with that kind of access to the information that is protecting us is crazy. And you guys are still protecting them. Trump supporters, where are you? Can you come up here and please talk to us? I've been waiting on these panels for you to come up here and now offer some kind of something that is definitive, that is positive in the movement towards this government. But you can't come up here. Put a request in. I'm right here. We're here.
Well, yeah, they could do that if they are brave enough. But imagine this, Lex. You would have to get up here and explain why the economists are projecting a depression, right? You would have to get up here and explain why there's outbreaks happening. Measles, rubella, mumps. You know what I mean? And then try to make that spin positively. You would have to get up here and defend sending American citizens and even people who are entitled to being in America to concentration camps, so to speak. You would have to get up here and try to defend all of that. And then we still need to even get into the economy, right? We haven't even gotten into that. What exactly does MAGA have left?
Okay, so here, I'm going to read something to you.
Go ahead.
Marburg virus is a highly contagious and often fatal hemorrhagic fever virus that belongs to the Filoviridae family and is named after the German city of Marburg, where it was first identified in 1967. Okay, so it's an often fatal hemorrhagic fever. Okay, so what that does is it causes your white and red blood cells to pop, and you leak out of your eyes and your ears.
Wow.
Kind of like Ebola. Marburg virus has reappeared in Tanzania. And the last time that I heard about it was before the RFK, Captain Gravelmouth, took office. When he got put in charge of the CDC.
Yeah.
All the information on Marburg just disappeared.
Ain't that something?
If this is infecting people in the United States right now, and it has gotten here from Tanzania, people can be dropping left and right, and nobody knows what's going on because we don't have a protection system in place anymore. So,
ain't that something?
I mean, is there anyone on any Trump supporter? Has Nine Breda been up here? We got in a confrontation yesterday.
Nine Breda? I haven't seen him.
Yeah, we got in a confrontation yesterday, and he was talking about Christopher Columbus and how Christopher Columbus was a great man. Whenever in the logbooks of La Casa it says that he arrived in the Caribbean and wiped out, caused the extinction of 1.5 million indigenous islanders.
Yeah. Wow.
So he seemed to say he knew more about it than me, and then I posted a picture of myself fishing on the beach where Columbus landed.
Wow. So you think that he's misinformed, or you know that he's misinformed, and that's a lot of these folks. They are confidently misinformed, and they're proud of it. Isn't that something?
Well, see, the thing is he wants to. He's like there are a couple of them: Golden Calf, Breda, Kenneth, Levito. Have you heard anything from what's his name that went to Columbia? What's the guy's name?
Asler?
Yeah, have you heard anything else back from
no,
him?
No, I haven't. But from what I've seen, it looks like he's having a great time. Am I right, Kabir? It looks like Asler is having a great time dancing. I don't know when he's going.
I thought he was supposed to be coming back.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where he's at.
See what the likelihood of what's going to happen is you're not going to be able to confront Asler on.
This week? Okay.
Yeah, okay, so you're not going to be able to confront him. If he gets back, good.
Yeah.
But if he goes silent all of a sudden, he's in El Salvador. Which is going to be the second tier of his vacation. This is going to be added on.
But he voted for Trump. Isn't he safe? Because that's his mindset. He went above and beyond to make sure everything on social media shows he's a Trump voter. All right, will that help him?
The thing is, you don't have to worry about Asler them shaving his head because his head looks like somebody took a sucked on a milk dud and rolled it around on the floor with somebody that owned cats.
Easy. W's Dr. Lex, ladies and gentlemen. It's so easy to get these people. They don't know what the heck they're doing.
I mean, really. Oh boy. Listen, MAGA, do better. I mean, you guys in your presentation, when you turn your cameras on, we don't know what's going on. I was just cooking somebody on another live before I came over here.
Yeah.
His name was Hoodlum or Hoodie or whatever.
I know of him. I know of Hoodlum, yeah.
He turned his camera on. He looks like Dennis Franz from the detective TV show.
Lord have mercy.
And then like Janae, she turned her camera on and she looks like she got sprayed in the face with a can of WTF.
Ooh, Lord have mercy. Don't do that. Don't turn the cameras on.
So I'm going to tell you something. You know, AI is a very, very, very important part of our livelihoods, but people are using it to change their images to something they are not when you see them in person. That's the reason I like to turn my camera on.
Yeah. I mean, when people don't want to do all the camera stuff, I get it, but don't be a double nasty individual. It just, to me, sends the wrong message. I want people to actually act like, if they say they're Christians, I would love to see them display Christ-like values. It's just unfortunate that these people don't do such things, and instead they show everyone that, when it comes to being, a decent person, they're not interested.
If you want to see the effects of money, though, go look at a picture of Elon Musk when he was 20.
Yeah.
Because what he did was Elon Musk is a 3 that paid for plastic surgery to become a 5.
Wow.
And thinks he's an 8, but he's just attractive adjacent.
Wow. Money makes you look good, right? Doesn't have it.
The money makes you think you look good.
Oh.
Because see? I mean, Jeff Bezos looks like he's been baked in an easy bake oven.
Go ahead, get him, Dr. Lex, ladies and gentlemen. That's Dr. Lex roasting.
And Zuckerberg looks like a cartoon character off of Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
That got shot up with some energy juice. But they're all just like that. Just like Donald Trump saying that he's 6'3" and has 4% body fat.
You don't believe that? You think that Because haven't you seen those pictures and those meme coins photos of him with his shirt off and his pecs protruding and things like that? You don't think he's really strong and muscular like that?
You know something? If Donald Trump took his shirt off, his belly would look like it's swirled up like a honey bun.
Get him, Dr. Lex!
You know something? You would be able to punch one of his nipples and get a Diet Coke out of his belly button. He looks like he spent his whole life drinking Coca-Cola and eating Pop Rocks.
Oh my gosh! W, where are you getting this material?
Oh, this is just me.
Oh my God! Well, you're hurting their feelings when you do that because
he looks like Dizzy Gillespie mid trumpet blow.
Wow! You're hurting their feelings, Dr. Lex. Knock it off, all right? They can't handle anymore. Don't you feel bad doing what you're doing? Especially with the Diet Coke coming out of his belly button.
But you know something. I listened to that song. It's the end of the world as we know it. As a kid, I didn't think that song was going to come into fruition.
Yeah, you feel like that, huh?
Yeah, we're in a rough spot. We don't want to know what's going to happen next. They're cutting all these funds. These people here, like I said, are eating possum soup in Eastern Tennessee. It's just the very people that voted for him. Then he comes right over here and gives a great speech in North Carolina and then cuts the funding off for FEMA, and they're over there living in tents right now.
Yeah, ain't that something? So you're saying he hasn't fixed Hurricane Helene in North Carolina? He hasn't fixed that situation because you remember President Biden and Kamala Harris, they didn't do enough and they just needed Donald Trump to deliver them. And you're saying it hasn't happened.
Well, no, it was going great.
Yeah.
Until he got in office, he went over there and he gave a great speech. I'm going to help you. I'm going to be here for you. And goes cut the funding right off. Because I know there's a guy that lives down the ridge from me that was working for FEMA, and now he's at home every day cutting his grass and taking care of his rose bushes.
And that's something.
And you know something, J.D. Vance speaking to the Pope, and then the Pope unaliving, and 8.5 hours later, J.D. Vance seems to break everything he touches.
Yeah. Ain't that something? He has to live with that. He has to live with that the rest of his life.
Trophies, popes, I mean, he's just doing it all. I wonder what he said to the Pope Francis, who was a wonderful man, by the way.
Yeah. I have no clue.
And Marjorie Taylor Greene gets on there and puts 6 toes down and says all these negative things about the Pope.
Nasty. Yeah, well, it just shows how dangerous these people really are. Whether it's, on camera or off camera, it shows that these people are deadly dangerous. All right?
Yeah,
deadly dangerous. They carry a demon on them that, I do it on the show. And I speak to it. It is a demonic force on these folks, ladies and gentlemen, because you can't explain to me or anybody else that's actually a free thinker, how would you vote for your own demise? How would you support someone who's hell-bent on destroying you? You got to hate yourself.
I don't get it. But you know something? I'm about to start my birthday month.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going to try to enjoy it because I don't know, the situation we're in, there's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah. It's not work that could just be instantly reversed. All right, the work that needs to be done, and MAGA knows it. But you know what, Dr. Lex? When is your birthday? We can celebrate your birthday.
Oh, it's in the middle. I'll let you know the day before. It's in the middle of next month.
All right, make sure you do that because we haven't had a birthday.
I will be a 55.
Oh wow! Okay, well listen to that. Look at that. And it's a shame the way this country is where we're at right now while your birthday is coming. And this is not just for your birthday, but anyone, right? How on earth were we doing so good and then doing so bad in under 100 days? Makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, well, this, what was that song called? I can't think of what it's called. Gloom, despair, and agony on me. Remember that from Hee Haw?
I don't remember that.
If it wasn't for bad luck, we'd have no luck at all. Gloom, despair. Hey man, I'm gonna call. We need to get on the phone. You don't have any Trump supporters in the queue. That's what I was waiting on.
Well, they might, but you never know, right? But yes, reach out, brother. All right, I appreciate you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Lex, no lies detected. It's not that difficult to get in the box, ladies and gentlemen. and tell the truth and shame the devil. All right. Put a 1 in the chat if you are a Trump supporter, and I will bring you right on up here. But you got to be willing to be honest. All right. We understand right now it's a difficult time for you Trump supporters, but you know what? You make your bed hard. You got to sleep in it. Good morning. Southern Escape, are you there? Southern Escape, are you there? Going once, going twice, sold. Let's see, who do we have? Ronald Reed. Good morning. How are you doing? Ronald Reed, are you there? Jeez. Ronald, are you there? There's a lot of noise. Ronald, going once. Going twice. Done. All right, let's see. Who do we have next? I am DJ Flex. Good morning. How are you doing? Oh, it's a quiet. I am DJ Flex. Good morning. How are you doing? DJ Flex, are you there?
Yeah, what's up, bro?
What's going on? What is it you wanted to say today?
Not much. I just been listening to your show. I think you're awesome.
Oh, okay,
And
thank you.
I think that, you know what?
What's that?
Dude, honestly, we just all need to figure out what we want and understand that we get nowhere separated. Together, we can go many, many heights. Separated, we're just bumping our heads against a wall.
What do you mean separated? You mean separated like Democrats and Republicans being separate, or are you saying within the Democrat Party? Which, you know what I mean? I'm just trying to get an angle as to where you're coming from with that perspective. Not saying you're wrong or anything, but I like to kind of make sure I grasp what you're saying.
Yeah, what I'm saying is it's not only in the Democratic Party, but it's also in race relations.
Right.
We need to all come together and understand that what one does, it affects many.
Correct. I get that.
And the only way we can do this is to put our personal goals aside and realize that what we got to do is good for everybody, not just me.
Do you ever think that there is a boundary or a red line that you have to have where you say, unfortunately, that's just someone I'm not going to be able to come together with, right? I mean, I get it from a political perspective. That would be somewhat true. But, you know, I also think that I could only do that with someone who possibly thinks it's more important to put country over party, as opposed to someone who thinks it's important to put the party over the country, right?
Yeah, I got you.
I mean, that's just my opinion, but what do you think? Because there's some of these folks, I'm gonna be honest with you, there's just no chance I'll really ever be able to come together with them, considering the amount of harm they've caused this great country of ours, right? I mean, how could someone that says they're intelligent bring themselves to vote for the most incompetent person?
Yeah, no, I feel where you're coming from, bro. Because I mean, you know, the thing is, we have to find a common ground somehow, even to begin the discussion.
Well, we could start off with a couple of things like, you know, hey, do you believe Trump is a convicted felon? Do you think he's a criminal? What would be the right answer?
Yeah, true. I see what you're saying.
Is he a criminal?
To me, yes.
Oh, okay, yeah. And what about him, you know, being an adjudicated rapist, you know, with E. Jean Carroll? Wouldn't you say that we have to agree that that's true as well?
Yeah, I would tell you this. I am not a T supporter.
Right. Good.
No way.
Good, but you seem to be interested in finding common ground with the T supporters.
Yeah, I think we have to, and I think we have to go forward somehow. I don't think we got to do that because we need to find. I don't know how to describe it, but we need to find that spot where we can talk.
Well, the good book, it says, how can two walk together unless they're in agreement?
True.
And there's just a lot of things that T supporters and myself, speaking for myself, will just never agree, right? If you're going to lie to me about what happened in the 2020 election and you're still running around here saying it was stolen, that means you'll lie to me about anything. because that's information that I can go fact check and verify myself. You're going to lie to me and tell me that it was a two-tier justice system and somehow that you're a victim of all of that, and I could go fact check the evidence myself. That means if you're willing to lie to me about stuff I can verify on my own, 110% chance you're going to lie to me about everything else.
No,
that's just
I
how I
got you.
see it. So how could I, really try to break bread with these people? I mean, yeah, we're all in the same country. And chances are you go out here and you interact with people who are T supporters, and outside of politics, you might do business with them. But once you know, now you know.
Yeah, you're right about that. But like I said, brother, I definitely appreciate what you do. I appreciate the fact that you're trying to educate us. I just appreciate the fact that you take time out your busy day to try to make things better. And that, we all got to do that.
Hey, man, well, you know what? Never give up on the vision, all right, brother? Nope. And thank you for coming up and at least giving your perspective. I truly, truly appreciate it, all right?
All right, brother, much love and respect.
All right, much love to you. I am DJ Flex, ladies and gentlemen. That was, these are conversations I don't mind having over here, ladies and gentlemen, honestly, because, it's important that we have, dialogue. I get it, but the dialogue that I'm having, ladies and gentlemen, it especially when I'm dealing with the folks on the right, it's coming from a perspective where, we all know the answers to the test questions, right? And so you're going around, you got your sheet of paper, you have the answer key, and you're talking to these people who should understand that you have the answers, and they're just going to double and triple down on the lies and the misinformation as though you don't know the truth. That's where we actually have a huge divide in this country. All right, so let's go back out there. Yes, sneaky fingers, MAGA equals ignorance, or you can even add willful ignorance, right? I mean, sometimes you have to understand this. The truth does hurt, all right? I get that, ladies and gentlemen. The truth hurts. But a lot of people who've made progress and have elevated in life, they've actually, understand that, part of growing is, leaning into the pain of learning and coming into the light. And so some of us who've gone through the pain are looking at you going, well, if I can go through the pain, why can't you go through the pain and learn how to become a better person, right? W. Zeus. That was an easy one. Put a 1 in the chat if you are a Trump supporter. All right, let's see. We're going to go to the box and see who's out there. It's interesting because, normally they have so much to say. MAGA does. Normally they have so much in them to say. But make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen, this silence is actually, in my opinion, it's a good thing. All right, it's a good thing. It's a good thing because this means it's hitting close to home, or it's actually hitting them right now where they're at, right, Kabira? Because we see these people and everything they know that Donald Trump promised them. Before, it was all speculation because it hadn't happened, but a lot of them, their businesses, you can see video after video on this app, their businesses are shut down. Yeah. Oh my God, these tariffs. I now understand what tariffs mean. I understand what Big Zeus and all of his friends were saying, that it's a tax on us. There's no way I could bring those goods in from China because look at how much it costs me to bring those goods in. And then if I spend an extra $30,000 or $40,000, I'm going to have to pass that cost on to my customer, and they're going, this was a terrible idea. Oh, look at this, DJ Scott Jennings, welcome.
What's up, man?
Not the stock market.
No, it's not.
Yeah, we're heading towards the worst April since 1932, and guess who's responsible for it?
I'm sure you're going to say it's Donald Trump.
Who else would you say is responsiable?
Okay. All right. So you know what? It is Trump's fault.
Hey!
Everything that you say is correct.
Everything. Wow.
So tell us what your plan is.
Well, first of all, what brought you to that point mentally and emotionally, DJ? How did you get here?
No, I'm listening to you guys talk all kinds of trash that you can about everything. And some of it I agree with, some of it I don't agree with. Okay. Have the Republicans done anything since they've gotten into Congress to codify any of these executive orders or anything like that? No, they have done nothing. Okay, I'm extremely disappointed with what the Republican Party has done.
Thank you, DJ.
With
Finally.
their situation in
Thank
Congress.
you. You're getting there. Yeah.
So here's my question: what is the plan of the left, other than to bitch and gripe? What is the plan?
Wait a second. Keep it clean, DJ. You don't got to get upset. I get this. You're having an outer body experience.
Not at all, man. I'm curious. I want to know
why. First of all, is this
that's a better plan than what's going on right now?
Wait a minute. I think you're putting the cart way before the horse. W. Kabira, DJ. You're not even 100 days into this administration. Is it safe for me to assume that Donald Trump is still the president in charge of the executive branch? Am I correct?
You are correct, Zeus.
And then when it comes to Congress, isn't it still safe to say that it's the Republicans who are in charge, right?
Yes, you're exactly right, Zeus.
So what power do the Democrats have right now to stop Donald Trump? What power do you think we have? Because, I'm still a person that believes in the Constitution, right? If it was up to me, I would go ahead and get him right out of the White House and say enough of this and put somebody in there that's actually competent, and I would start cleaning house. But I understand we got to operate, using the laws of the rules. We got to operate by the rules, all right?
So
there's rules for a reason.
Impeachment is the answer. Impeachment is the answer.
DJ.
Is that what you said?
That was me personally speaking.
Okay.
Honestly, but whatever the remedy is, it has to be done legally, number one, right?
Of course.
Okay. But in terms of what's going on in the party you voted for, I don't think Democrats actually have the power to deal with this crisis. And I'm using the word crisis lightly, but this is honestly, this is malpractice. You know this. What kind of person crashes the stock market intentionally, ignores all knowledge, because, a lot of the information that we have today, it's taken centuries for man to learn this information and learn it and then apply it in a way where, we can actually benefit from it, right? And he ignores it. So what do you do to an individual, especially you knew like this guy was not fit to do this and y'all put him in there? What?
I'm not saying that. I voted for him and I'd still vote for him again.
Knowing what you know now.
Again, we're going to go back to the same argument that you're going to roll your eyes
because
at.
I haven't even gotten into I haven't even thrown a jab yet. I haven't, hit you with the haymaker yet. I'm literally letting you,
You know what?
give us your best shot, DJ.
Do you have a haymaker? Hit me with it.
No.
I want to know what. Again, it's very easy to sit here and criticize the job that somebody is doing. If you have a better plan, let's hear it.
No, it's not easy to criticize someone who's doing a good job, DJ. You know what I mean? Let's just look at, your favorite sports athlete. If you win the championship, bro, you won the championship. I can sit there and nitpick all you want, but you got the ring. You get what I'm saying? What we're dealing with right now is Donald Trump promised all of you.
Donald Trump has the ring, right?
Huh?
Donald Trump has the ring? He
no.
won the championship. He won the election.
No.
Oh, that's not your analogy.
No. Because one thing is winning an election. Another thing is actually being a good president. Going down in the history books as one of the GOATs. You know what I mean? Winning an election isn't difficult as far as I'm concerned compared to actually being a GOAT like Obama. Obama's going to be a good president when we look back. Actually, and I actually think Joe Biden, when everyone looks back, they're going to go, you know what? He wasn't that bad. Because think about it where we're at right now, DJ. We're less than 100 days in. Imagine 4 years from now.
How many days, Zeus?
Over 80 days. We're almost 100.
So out of a 4-year term, he said how many days?
Yeah, almost 100, DJ. I don't know the exact days.
Okay, so
but but did you catch what I said? Did you?
Of everything is justified at this point. Is that what you're saying?
DJ,
all the policies.
DJ, just imagine, DJ. I'm just saying, take the limit of this function. This is math class, right? When you take the limit of a function, you know what you do? You imagine that you count all the way to infinity, right? And I'm asking you to take the limit of this function when it comes to Donald Trump's administration. Where do you think we are headed? Just imagine the 4th year of his presidency. Imagine where we will be as a country based on what you see him doing right now.
I think if Congress does what it's supposed to do, Zeus, we're going to be fine.
You just acknowledged they haven't done what they're supposed to do, and you
That's
also
exactly
acknowledge
right.
that Donald
You're
Trump
exactly
isn't,
right.
and he's not interested in codifying any of his executive orders. You just acknowledged that. So let's just take the limit of that. If Trump doesn't codify any of his executive orders, and Congress continues to do nothing, DJ, what do you think is going to happen?
They won't get reelected, Zeus.
That's them. But what do you think is going to happen to every American? The Americans who voted for him.
Happen to every American.
The ones who voted for him, his supporters.
I have no way of knowing what's going to happen to every American, Zeus. Do you know what's going to happen to every American? You're going to speculate and say your 1929 style depression and do all the.
I knew you knew, so you know.
My point of coming up here, Zeus, is listen to you guys, debating with you guys. I don't hear anything coming from the left. I mean, you've got Hakeem Jeffries, the dollar store Obama, out here talking. He actually said that the reason the border is fixed now is because of his party. Do you know that he said that?
No, but here's the thing. You're looking for the answers in the wrong spot, right? We don't need to necessarily give you information because it's not our agenda that Trump is implementing. When we need to do what we need to do, you'll feel it. Just like you felt it when Biden was in office. You saw how much legislation. Wait a second. When Biden was in office, then you should have brought those questions. And you can go look at all of the legislation. They say all the legislation Biden passed. They say all the legislation President Biden passed. It reads like a Walmart receipt. All right. W. Joe Biden. Biden was getting legislation passed, whether you liked it or not. You saw it and you could point at it and criticize it. We're not getting any legislation passed. Donald Trump is trying to govern through the executive branch of the government. And yeah, when you do it like that, guess what? You're going to get all of these injunctions. And now you're ineffective. He can't move forward doing the mass deportations. He's supposed to be doing over 200,000 a month. He'll never reach those numbers.
Well, you sound disappointed in that, dude. So you're okay with the 200,000 a month? You're okay with that?
No, but I'm a man that understands, promises, right? If you're promising something, you should deliver on it. And he can't even do that. I'm just showing you how impotent he is, all right? And then the second thing is this.
Slowing him down from doing what he needs to do.
He has no clue what he's doing. And maybe the guy behind me, Pete Hegseth, getting into all of these scandals and distracting him with nonsense that he could have prevented if he would have put somebody in there that was actually competent and qualified to do the job. If you surround yourself with a bunch of lowlives, all right, because guess what? All the people who are actually worthy, they know it's not a good idea to work for Trump, right? Because you got to understand, there's a reason Mike Pence didn't want to run with him again. You know what I mean? Mike Pence knew if you work with this guy, chances are you're going to get investigated.
Pence brought nothing to the table, bro.
Actually, wrong. I think if without Mike Pence, we wouldn't have a country. You know what? He stood up to Donald Trump on January 6th, so I would relax on that. And as a matter of fact, I've learned a lot of things behind the scenes that Mike Pence had to do to try to keep the guardrails on Donald Trump when he was president, and not just him. All of his chiefs of staff, all of them worked very, very hard to guard him from his own, his worst behavior. So I don't like Mike Pence's policies, but I do understand he at least respected the Constitution. W. Zeus. But DJ, I'm going to say this to you. 4 years from now, if we have a country, I promise you, you will not be enjoying life. That's all I can say to you, DJ. You're not going to be enjoying life in this country 4 years from now. Donald Trump has done one thing that I think makes him, that just shows he doesn't know what he's doing. With these tariffs, he should have strengthened our relationships with our allies before he went after China. Don't you agree?
I think that Donald Trump is showing the world that the United States is no longer going to bend over and let you guys have your way.
Did you hear?
That's what Donald Trump is showing. China needs the United States more than we need China. Europe needs the United States more than we need Europe. The United States is the number one consumer market in the world. Would you agree with that, yes or no?
Under Joe Biden.
Oh
But
my
how are we
goodness,
going
I
to?
love that, man. That is awesome. That is a great statement.
How are Americans, DJ? I'm being very serious.
I know you
There
are. I
are
have no
there
doubt, because
are
that's the only answer your program to give, Zeus. Is
DJ
yes, I will agree
DJ
on something, but I got to throw something else in there. So
DJ.
you said
You
yes
know,
under
well,
Joe
let
Biden.
me explain why. I've seen commercials, car prices, they're going to go up by 25% or more. Car prices are already way over. Cars are already overpriced. The average American is most likely not going to be able to purchase a car when these tariffs actually kick in and the impact starts to be
And
absorbed, right? Because
no,
remember, you were all complaining when Biden was in office. So when I said what I said, you're not
but we
going
were
to see a
wrong under
lot.
Biden,
Listen,
but you're right under Trump.
DJ, you're not going to see you already have businesses closing because they got products coming in from China and they can't afford it. Car prices are going up. Yeah, America is a country that has consumers and we consume a lot. But if the products that we tend to consume start to cost more, you don't got to be a rocket scientist to understand that market is no longer the market that you got to go in to make the money. You got to go somewhere else. And this is what I'm saying. If he was really serious about being tough on China, I think he should have done a better job shoring up our relationships with our allies. All right, before going after China. But instead, you saw what he did. He basically threw everyone off of the cliff and made them try to threaten them. So that opened up the door for China to go backdoor and get in good with our allies now. And now United States looks weak. We look incompetent. And you see it right now in the stock market. Instead of actually focusing on China, he's focusing on the federal chair. It just shows to me there's no real plan. There's no real plan Donald Trump or his administration has to actually deliver on these promises. And you know it.
I'm
And you
glad
can
to sit here and let you talk, Zeus. It's your show, man.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter what I tell you, but will you admit that the United States is the number one consumption of consumer goods in the world? Yes or
DJ,
no?
DJ, for the time being, I'll give you that, right? But
Okay.
it's not like it was under Joe Biden, and it's
Do you
getting a
think
lot
that
worse.
do you think that China needs the United States, needs their consumer goods?
No.
Wow. Okay. All right. So if that's your statement, then that's your statement. I'm not
Well,
going to try
well,
to change
you've
it
heard
now
them
because
already say
you're
China's
wrong,
been.
dude.
Listen, you've heard them already go on record. China's been around for 5,000 years. You think the United States not? You think the United States not buying stuff from China is going to just make the entire country fall off the face of the earth? DJ, get a grip, bro.
I don't need to get a grip, Zeus. It's a fact.
China's been here longer than the United States. Do the math, DJ. Come on, you
China's
can't.
been here longer than the United
Yes,
States is not
yes.
an argument, Zeus. It is not a valid argument.
Well,
You
DJ,
don't think the economy of China needs the United States of America?
no.
Wow. Good for you, man.
Do
Well,
you?
that's cool, man. That's why you feel the way you do.
Yeah,
You are
you're
obviously
like these people
uninformed.
on. You're like these
Ask
people,
Val
DJ.
or one of your other experts if they feel like China needs the United States or Europe needs the United States.
DJ needs therapy session every week. It's the most ridiculous thing.
Nah, I'm just trying to make sure that yours isn't the only voice spoken. That's all.
Let's
What's
answer
going
your
on?
question.
So there's a reason that you let me up here. I'm assuming.
You're the only one brave enough, honestly, to keep pushing these lies.
But let's answer
Hi,
your
Kabira.
question. How's it going?
Hey,
Good
go ahead.
morning, everyone.
All right, we got Val.
Hey, DJ, I have a question for you. You wanted to know what could the Democrats do, right? Didn't you ask
Yes,
Zeus
ma'am.
that
What is your
earlier?
plan? Absolutely.
Why would we give you our plan? We had a plan. It was Kamala Harris, and you guys chose Trump. That was the plan.
And your point is, what is your point,
Now,
ma'am?
DJ, now look where we are. Now, let's look at China for a minute. How old is China's civilization? 5,000 years old, maybe older than that, right? Now, China, they're moving forward with or without us, okay? From my understanding, they're getting their beef now from Australia.
Did you say beets?
Beef.
Beef. Okay.
Trump has messed that up. I think what is happening is you're staying on OAN or Newsmax or Fox News, and you're not getting the real news, what's going on.
Oh, okay.
They have moved on away from us. So you know, just like we have trading partners, they're reaching out to our trading partners. And why wouldn't our trading partners go with them? Trump has left a matter of fact, what happened to Canada? I haven't heard anything about Canada in the past month now. Or Greenland. You see, this is how much Trump has messed up everything. So even the people we had for allies, he's just kicked them to the side, and they've kicked us to the dirt.
So what you're saying is Trump is basically going to make it to where the rest of the world will not trade with us at all. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying that, DJ. Let's be serious. I'm saying the type of trade that we had, they're moving away from us. He's alienated our allies. Do you understand that? People will only be bothered with a bully for so long. Okay. And see, this is Trump's philosophy. If I talk loud enough and bad enough and mean enough, I'm going to get you to come my way. Baby, yes, look here. I'm here to tell you, you talk nasty to me, I'm going to ignore you and I'll move on.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
These people don't have to take this foolery from Trump.
Vera, were you okay with the way that the tariffs and everything was set up before? You were okay with that?
Wasn't that the ones Trump set up before?
No, ma'am. I'm talking about
yes.
I'm talking about the tariffs that the other countries had on U.S. goods. You're okay with the way that was all set up? You felt
everybody has tariffs based on their needs or to protect their certain industries, and targeted tariffs are fine, and we deal with those and we negotiate those and we go back and forth with them. You can negotiate tiered tariffs or tariffs that are on certain items. Those can be negotiated because you're talking about one thing. What you can't negotiate is blanket tariffs because there's too many options to negotiate. You can't go through them all. Now, sir, I'm just going to lay this out for you for what's actually going on because you want to designate it to tariffs. You want to talk about other things, but here's the reality. Okay. By the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. Okay. This was done in Forbes at the end of last month. And I'm just going to go through, and I'm not even going to include the federal agency jobs. Okay. As far as education and stuff like that, they reported all the deal. But here we go. Google, 12,000 positions. Amazon, 18,000 positions. These are layoffs. Citigroup, 6,500 positions. Walmart, 7,000 positions. Disney, 5,500 positions. Ford, 4,200 positions. Warner Brothers, 2,000 positions. Paramount Global, 1,800 positions. These are lost jobs, sir, since this has began.
Wow.
Okay. Now, sir, this total, not including the government jobs, is 250,000 jobs. Okay? These are lost jobs. All right, sir, at the rate we're going, at what he's doing, the other countries don't need to worry about us being the largest buying power in the world. If we keep going down this road, we will not have the capability to be the largest buying power in the world. That is the problem. This type of rhetoric and what he's pushing forward and what he's causing other countries to do is not only stopping countries from doing business with us, it's costing American jobs.
How much has unemployment gone up since
Sir, layoffs are on the rise, as I just pointed out. Okay? Housing is starting to falter. In Texas specifically, okay, foreclosures are on the rise. Sir, we cannot continue down this road and continue to be the global power, okay? Because what's going to happen is it ain't it's going to be we used to be the largest consumer in the world.
We're not now.
We still are. Other people will take our spot.
How?
Sir, just like how much business did Australia just get from beef going to China? That used to come from the U.S.
Now, how much has unemployment gone up under Trump?
Sir, what was our soybean crops? Do you know how much soybeans when Donald Trump's first term? Do you know what the soybean crop yield was to China?
Val,
No. Do you know?
Oh, so you keep piling one on top of the other, but you don't have to be responsible for any of your statements.
Do you know?
Go back to unemployment for a minute, Val. How much has unemployment gone up under Donald Trump's?
We're going to get that statistic next month, sir, and I guarantee you it's probably going to be somewhere around the 5 to 6% range.
Based on what I'm looking right here, it says March of 25, it went to 4.2.
And it's going to continue to climb. Sir, that's 250,000 jobs I just gave you in a month.
It went from 4.1 to 4.2.
Sir, it's going to go up.
Is that the right direction, DJ?
Was under Biden's last month or the last year of 24?
It was in the threes, sir.
No, sir. It was 4.1.
DJ, if you just take common math, let's look at math. All right. If you think, I believe, I want you to hear me. If you think, I believe unemployment right now is 4.2, I got another thing for you coming. For number one, let's look at all the federal employees. Hold on, let me finish. Let's look at all the federal employees that Trump laid off. Let's look at the individual private businesses that started laying people off. All right. So I don't believe that it is actually 4.2. I think it is higher because it's just like we do not know what the actual number. Wait a minute. Let me finish. Let me finish. We do not know what the actual number is for the measles. We really don't. Because Trump's not having these things.
Were we talking about the measles?
She's pointing out the data issue with the Trump administration.
Oh, so anything that Trump.
DJ, if you listen to what I'm saying instead of trying to come up with an answer or what you want to bring up next, all right? What I'm saying to you is this. If someone puts out fake numbers and then someone says, we're going to quit reporting on this right here, just looking at things logically. You hear about these businesses laying off people. You hear about how many people the federal government has laid off. Do you actually believe in your mind? Maybe in your mind you do believe that. But the average thinking person, they have to know that it is much higher. And it's going to get worse, like what Val said. And if we're losing our beef, if we're losing our soybean, if we're losing things to China and other countries, come on, brother. You can't keep hiring people and you have no income coming in. It's just common sense.
Kabir, you lay out a very good argument. I think that you make some excellent points. But to give the hysterics that's behind it, I think is a little bit troublesome.
It's not hysterics, my friend. It's fact.
I'm pretty sure that what I just gave you as the unemployment rate is a fact. Now, you feel that number is wrong. You feel like somebody is putting fake numbers out there.
DJ, I just want to say this. I think where Kabira and I are coming from, and a lot of us, even if you try to say it was this 4.1 under Biden, you weren't having all these federal employees being laid off. We didn't have tariffs in place that were actually causing harm to businesses out here and things like that. So the number that you're referencing to us, it's really not reflecting what's really happening now. I understand it takes a little bit of time for actual real numbers to get published, and then they got to go back and revise them. I understand that process very well, but you can't ignore the reality right now that's happening.
Why were the federal employees laid off, Zeus?
You know why.
Absolutely, I know why.
Performance reasons.
Performance reasons.
That's what Doge cited. That's what they said. Yeah, performance reasons.
That's absolutely what Donald Trump said he would do.
No, you asked me why they were laid off. According to Doge, their performance wasn't up to par.
Right. In other words, they weren't justified.
And then they tried to hire them back. How many did they try to hire back again?
I'm not sure, Dobbs. I'm sure you know the number, but that's not what,
Yeah, like I know that Biden hit lower unemployment than Trump. I also know that number. Did you know Biden had lower unemployment than Trump?
At which point, Dobbs?
April 2023.
April of 2023. Okay.
Yeah. So
what
when
about
Trump
21 and 22?
If you brought up unemployment,
COVID, right?
did you know that unemployment was already 4% when Trump gave himself and corporations a tax cut that they didn't need? So you want to celebrate unemployment rates? Obama handed Trump a low unemployment rate. There was there was no need for billionaires or corporations to get a tax cut. Unemployment hitting 3.5 from being 4% is not that big a deal. But Biden going from 7 to 3.4 in a crisis should have given you some indication that he was better at handling things, right? Much higher GDP. If Trump had still been president and had lower unemployment after a crisis and higher GDP after a crisis, you guys would have been kissing his boots more than you already do. You would have put him on Mount Rushmore by himself.
Like that, DJ.
So don't even pretend you want to talk about unemployment rates. Okay?
I responded to Val's, or it was either Val or Zeus, talked about all the people that were getting laid off.
Yeah, anything around 4%. Anything around 4% is generally considered full employment. And again, there's no reason for corporations or billionaires to get a tax cut at full employment. It was a waste of trillions of dollars that Trump benefited from after Obama had done the work of handing him a good economy. And guess what? It took him almost 4 years to screw it up last time. He's doing it in less time. Now it's 4 months. Congratulations.
Wow.
Tell me what economic numbers say that
we were actually projected to have a positive 2.5 GDP for the year. Now it's going to be a negative 3. If things go the way they're going, we were not projected to go into recession, and now we are. See, economists who you are not, we're going to support her.
Well, I'm absolutely not.
Yeah, that's why I know you don't know what you're talking about. Economists were supporting her, not him. So even when you just look at the economy, like you hypocrites overlook his terrible character, he still has terrible policies. So congratulations.
W-dubs.
Until you understand why I asked the farm questions with soybeans, sir, before he put that tariff on last time with China and played this nice little trade war with China, we were at 250 million metric tons of soybean to China.
Okay.
Now we're at 30 million metric tons.
Okay.
We've never recovered from that, and he continues to do that because they went to other places to get their soybeans, sir. They went to Brazil.
Wow.
Okay, these are the things that you don't understand. Every time these people make a big move like that, and we lose that much GDP, gross domestic product, that other country grows.
Makes
and
sense.
as those other countries keep growing, DJ, we're going to keep losing. And it's because of stupid policies in these trade wars.
We will find out, won't we, Val?
Creating this.
We'll find out. So, Val, you were okay with the way the tariffs were before. You were okay with the way the tariffs were.
We didn't find out the first time.
Takesha, are you there? I know you came up here. I wanted to make sure I heard from you. Is everything okay?
Hey, Zeus and everybody on the panel.
Hey.
I just wanted to DJ made a statement that made me just fall out the bed onto the floor. When he was talking about those unemployment numbers, and he said, well, you don't believe CNN? Tell them they're lying. DJ, no, we don't believe CNN, number one.
Nope.
Number two, we don't get our information from looking at CNN. We actually go read and research real numbers. And if you expect us to believe everything positive about Donald Trump and we're going to go against everything negative about him, then you're being disingenuous, DJ. We can't believe everything positive about Donald Trump just because you like him. Just like that doctor came out and lied about his weight and his body mass and all of that. We can't believe nothing coming out this administration. You got drunk Danny over here lying, talking about he didn't do nothing. I mean, come on, DJ. Every time you get in this box, you disappoint me. It's like you getting deeper and deeper and deeper into the pile of SHIT.
Amen.
When you gonna take them boots off? Take them off. Come on out of it, DJ.
Thank you. Love you, Takesha. DJ?
Goodness gracious.
I think he's officially cooked, Takesha. He doesn't.
No, I'm just saying, Zuzi, He had like those Siamese twins that be them conjoined twins that be joined at the brain. He had like he just joined at the brain with Donald Trump. The man is not perfect.
Thank you.
Come on, DJ.
You hear that, DJ?
Absolutely.
Good God Almighty.
Yeah.
So we can't believe everything that's positive about Trump, but it's okay to believe everything negative about him.
Who's saying we believe everything negative? You act like there is no negative. When you admit something, DJ, when you admit it, you come back with something positive. You try to turn that negative into a positive. That's what you do. All the time.
I don't want to step on Takesha, so if she's not finished, then I'm just going to stay quiet.
Baby, say what you got to say. Takesha ain't all that.
Okay, so if we don't believe everything positive about him, it's okay to believe everything negative about him. And you guys are very quick to spread everything.
It's not about the negative about him. I'm not looking at him. I'm looking at what is actually happening to our country. The numbers that are coming out, the numbers that in GDP. I mean, what he told you earlier, you just kind of glossed over. We were projected to have a 2.5% growth in GDP in our first quarter. And he's right when he tells you it is actually estimated right now to be a 2.8% loss in GDP. Sir, that's a 5-point swing. That is a 5% swing in gross domestic product. I don't think you understand the terms and the amount of money that we are actually talking about here.
And can any of this harm Val or Dubs, anyone? The harm, Kabir, you too. People's 401ks, tanking.
Oh, absolutely. That's why the stock market keeps going back down. Like I told you it was, DJ, and you didn't believe me then.
Remember,
market's going to go up and down, Val.
Trump initially didn't care when we were talking about it affecting our 401ks. It wasn't until the billionaires started talking about the bond market. That's when he actually stepped in with a 90-day pause.
Wow. DJ, does it hurt you that some Americans out here have lost everything in their stock with their stocks? The harm, and when are you going to get it
lost
back?
Everything with their stocks, Zeus.
There are people out here who've lost quite a bit, DJ.
Oh, there absolutely are.
Does it bother you? Does it bother you?
Stocks took the biggest hits.
I don't care which stock it is. The point is, these are American lives that are now put at risk. Does it? Look at this. I've lost 30K. I've lost 300,000. Does it bother you at all, DJ? Aren't you American? Someone said they lost over 400,000.
So let's say the market is down. Val, what would you say the market is down? 10%?
Roughly right at 10%.
Okay. 20. So if the market's down 10%, and if someone lost $300,000, how much money did they have to have in the market, Zeus?
Sir, here, let's make this a little easier for people to understand and to get the gravity of it, because talking about the 30,000 somebody lost, or the 10,000 somebody lost, or the 100,000 somebody lost doesn't produce the gravity of the situation.
Okay.
Sir, what is that in trillions, please? Do you know?
I'm not sure that I understand the question.
What has the market lost in trillions of dollars?
I don't know. What is it?
It's almost $9 trillion.
Yep. And where is the vast majority of that lost?
The vast majority of that loss is actually the American public, sir. You take that 30,000, that 300,000, that 40,000, that 10,000, you divide that.
I'm not arguing
160 by over 170 million working Americans. That is a chunk of change, sir. That is who took the loss. We know the 1% took a hit too. I don't care about that. I don't care if the 1% takes a hit. It wasn't the 1% that took this hit, sir. It's everyday Americans that also took this hit. And it's a big one.
What percentage, Val?
65% of Americans have money tied into the stock market in one way.
I think that's a fair number. I would agree with that.
So DJ, what number are you looking for? What goal are you trying to get by trying to ask, who did what percentage? What is the angle you're trying to bring?
What percentage of that 9 trillion Val, did the 1% take?
Probably about 50% of it.
Okay. So,
but DJ, why are you? Where are you going with all of this?
If you let me land it, Zeus, I'll be glad to answer your question. Okay. My point is that everyday Americans have absolutely lost money in their 401k. No question about it, including myself. Okay.
Oh, you.
Absolutely. Now, however, okay, from where do you think my 401k is based on 10 years ago? Would you say it's higher?
Oh, Lord have mercy.
The stupidity of that. The stupidity of that. I don't care where your 401k is. Hold on a minute.
That is ignorant.
I'm not allowed to land anything, Zeus. If you want me to land it, I'll land it.
DJ, you know what, DJ? DJ, to show you how ignorant that statement is.
You guys talk. Please let me finish, and then I will.
Zeus, remove the landing strip. Remove the landing strip, because this is going nowhere. Remove the landing strip.
Listen, DJ, we're not going to let that go down without pushing back. All right, you can't just start going back 10 years.
Push back until I'm finished, Zeus. If you give someone a chance to finish, then you can push back all you want.
If I was going to put money, hold on, let me put it this way. Let me put this in plain English for him, please. If I was going to put money into something 10 years that I was going to find out wasn't going to grow, I wouldn't have put money in it. Okay? The reason for 401k, sir, is so they do grow. So the money I invested grew. Now I'm losing that growth due to one man and his idiotic policies. Okay? That is why I am losing money. Now, sir, as a man of 59 years old, set to retire, this is a problem. And I'm not the only person in this age group. I don't have the time to recover what this man has lost me, because I will never make money on that money that's lost again.
What if
That's
the market
how this
goes up
works,
tomorrow,
sir.
Val?
You
What if
don't
the market
get
goes
it.
up tomorrow?
You do not get it. And you do not get how this is actually hurting American people and how this is actually hurting the American economy. How
not
this is
answering the
going to
question.
force people in their late 50s, early 60s to continue to have to work. You do not get the issue, sir. You do not get what's happening. I am done, and I'm going to state this. I am done taking a hit every time a Republican steps his ass in office. Sorry, Zeus. Go for it. You did what you got. Steps in office and continues to make policies that hurt the American people and continues to lose generational wealth for the American people. I am done with those policies from that group of people. Period. End of story.
DJ said DJ doesn't know how the stock market works. DJ just said, what if it go back up tomorrow? DJ, if it goes up tomorrow, you're still not going to recover. You're not going to have any gains because you still got to try to get back what you lost, baby. What's wrong with you?
I'm well aware of how the stock market works. My point is, there's people on here that's saying that Trump has decimated everybody's 401k. The largest amount of loss that Val just mentioned, the $9 trillion, was lost by the top 1%.
DJ, who gives a damn if it was by the top 0.0001%?
Thank you, Cabria. Thank you, Cabria.
Thank you, W. Kabira. DJ.
Yo.
Kabira, please continue.
Thank you, Cabria.
You know, DJ, the bottom dollar is this, right? I had said to myself I was going to work to full retirement age, which was 66 years and 7 months. I made it to 66 years and 7 months. Here comes stupid Trump with his stupid policies. Now, and I was off on disability. Now I have to go back to work, which I don't want to go back to work. I don't know what he's doing with Social Security. I've got to look out after my mother and brother. You think I can afford to work till I'm damn 76 years old? You got another thing coming. I have lost money. I don't have time. That's one thing I don't have on time. one thing I don't have is time. It's not like I'm 36 or 46 or 26 or maybe even possibly 56. I do not have time.
W.
So
Kabira.
all that money I put into my 401k, all this work I put in all my life, it's like, damn, my
Let me ask you a
back
question,
is hurting
Kabira.
and I got to be shuffling along at work. You know, DJ, people like you need to go away. I mean, they could put you on that SpaceX and put you right up there with Trump and Elon and send you to Mars, and I'd be happy.
Amen.
Because it's people like you that's got us in the position we're in.
Thank you, W. Kabira. There you go. See, that's what you got to hear, DJ. Don't run from it.
No, I mean, all I get to do is hear. I don't get to speak.
You're darn right. You made a huge mistake.
I want to ask Kabira a question, please.
It better be a nice question, DJ.
Have I ever been rude to Kabira?
Well, just your presence, as far as I'm concerned, your presence is rude.
Anyway, Kabira, when you retire, if you were to retire tomorrow, would you pull all of your money out of your 401k?
DJ, I officially made full retirement age in July. All right, that's when I could start claiming my Social Security.
Would you pull all of your money out of your 401k at that point?
No, DJ, because you didn't let me finish.
Let her finish, DJ.
You didn't let me finish with my plan. My plan was, after I recuperated from my surgery, I said, I'll just go back and work a couple of months, make a few more money bag grabs, and just say I'm done. But then Trump came in, and my whole world changed. My whole world has changed, DJ. I just recuperated from knee replacement surgery. The doctor said I can go back to work. Now my freaking bag, that's not the word I wanted to say because Miss Zeus is in the house. My freaking back is killing me. How am I gonna make it? I got no choice, DJ, thanks to Trump and his stupid policies.
Kabira,
you're not thinking about people who are senior citizens, you know, who I feel sorry for the person who's 74 years old that's gotta still work.
I'm 61.
Oh my God. Oh my, 61, you're still young enough. You still got a little scooter in your booter.
There you go.
This is my point. And Val, will you chime in on this as well, please? If my 401k has dropped in the last 3 months, okay? And I'm trying, again, not arguing that point, Juice.
Well, you should say it has dropped. Just stick to that. Say my 401k has dropped and then continue. I would appreciate it.
My 401k has dropped, Trump. Thanks to Trump. Thanks to Trump, Zeus.
Thank you.
So if I retire tomorrow, my money is going to stay in my 401k. Agreed? I'm not basing my retirement on the number that's in my 401k.
You need to. How are you gonna freaking live?
You're not
gonna... have look, the money you had once had in your 401k, it's not there. Your Social Security, because Trump is playing Kazam, you don't know if that's gonna be there. So you're stuck. I am stuck in freaking mud. I'm stuck in muck.
Kabira, I didn't know if my Social Security was going to be there long before Donald Trump was elected.
Oh, yeah,
Did you agree with that?
Don't give me that hogwash. Don't give me that.
So people didn't talk about Social Security not being there before Trump?
I'm so sick of you Republicans and your talking points and you guys wrecking the economy. I'm just
asking a question, Kabira. That's all I'm doing.
Actually, I think
the question is stupid.
I think you guys are trying to prep people for when Republicans privatize it. So you can say, see, it was always going to go away. Don't depend on it.
Because that's what Bush wanted to do, was privatize it. Now we see what happens if you privatize it.
So you guys would agree that Social Security has been a subject of a sore subject for a long time, long before Trump, right?
It's been a source of subject ever since FDR put it into play. Republicans have never liked it. You guys have never liked Dookie. You've never liked anything that would help people unless it's to help you. And until something bad happens to you, you couldn't care. You really couldn't care.
So we're not going to have a reasonable conversation about this at all.
DJ.
Yes, ma'am.
I just got one question because I just keep wondering about this. You know, you was telling Zeus that, let's get back to one subject, the tariffs. You was telling Zeus that, you know, it was unfair the way the other countries taxed us. When did you get to the point where you recognized the other countries was taxing us and what they taxed us? How long have you been concerned about how the other
I would
countries?
say,
How many
since
years have
sometime
you
in the
been?
early 90s.
In the early 90s, are you sure, DJ? You were looking into it in the early 90s, or did you look into it when Trump brought it up, DJ?
You asked me the question, I'm trying to answer it.
Go ahead, baby.
When I heard members of Congress talking about the trade imbalance that we had with China back in the 90s, we've been talking about this since the 90s. This is not new.
Lord.
DJ, you're lying.
You're lying, DJ, and I'll tell you how you're lying. In the early 90s, I was in my early 30s. I wasn't thinking about it, so you were in your 20s.
He wasn't either.
So
Thank you. Exposed. We've exposed W. Kabira, W. Takesha. DJ, we're not going to let you.
I don't think so.
Well,
they asked
DJ.
me a question, and I told them the truth, Zeus. How am I exposed?
Listen to me. They don't have any concerns about anything until Donald Trump brings it up. They were not concerned about the people that were coming over here. They were not concerned about tariffs. They were not concerned about anything.
Thank you.
The only time they started talking about stuff was when Donald Trump brought it up.
Thank
and
you.
Now it's a problem.
Thank you. And DJ, and I want to add something, and Val mentioned it earlier. You said you lost money right now because of Donald Trump, right?
No, I did not. I did not say I lost
in your
money.
In your 401k.
I said my 401k was worth less. I said my 401k
that's losing money.
Okay, DJ, it lost money.
No,
your 401k belongs to you. Wait,
I would have lost the money if I cash it out. That's when I've lost the money.
No, DJ, just stick to me. It's your 401k, correct?
Yep.
So it's you, and it's not as valuable as it was when Biden was in office, correct? So there's a loss.
No, sir, it's not.
There's a loss. If I was to put these numbers into a spreadsheet, I would actually calculate a loss. Let me ask you this.
On paper, you would, absolutely.
Yeah, so let's go back 30 years. Knowing that in 30 years, let's just say you put in 100,000 and you knew that eventually in 30 years that 100,000 would be 80,000. Would you still put that money in?
Of course you wouldn't.
Oh, so then I know you weren't thinking about these terrorists back then, all right? W. Zeus. Because if you did, you wouldn't have put the money in there in the 401k. You weren't, because see, no. You said
asked me when I became aware of tariffs.
Yeah, and you said 30 years ago.
Absolutely.
So knowing that you were aware of it 30 years ago, you should have known that eventually some person would have to deal with this, and it would basically tank your 401k. Why would you put it in there, DJ?
My 401k is lower on April the 22nd, 2025 than it was January the 1st of 2025.
I know.
That's a 3-month period of time.
Yeah. But my point is,
it's not the first time since I've had that account, Zeus.
Okay, but Val brought it in.
My account is worth less.
Val brought this point up earlier. You don't invest in something where you think you're going to lose money. And if you were that conscious of these tariffs, you should have known at a certain point someone coming in here doing what Trump is doing would be bad news for the 401k. Period. Right?
So you're saying that I should have been able to look 30 years into the future.
Because you were thinking about this.
Are you really making that? Is that your stance?
If you were truly thinking about tariffs, yes. Because why would you put your money somewhere
in your head than it did when it came out?
Why would you put your money in something that you know is basically going to cost you money? No, basically what I'm saying, DJ, is you weren't thinking about tariffs 30 years ago, bro. W. Zeus. If you were thinking about it, huh?
You know who made me aware of tariffs?
Who?
The Democratic Party.
Of course. Of course, DJ.
I agreed with them, Zeus. But they said that the Republicans were doing nothing about the current trade
targeted tariffs. Targeted tariffs, like Reagan was talking about. Have you heard Reagan talk about tariffs? He talks about him like he's a genius compared to Trump.
Reagan was against targeted tariffs, Dubs.
He was for targeted, actual specific tariffs. Go listen to his speech. What he's describing is exactly what Trump's doing, and he's saying it's a terrible idea. Back in the 80s, Reagan, who I often disagreed with.
I'm not arguing that point.
That's my point, though, is this was already predictable. What Reagan is talking about was what Trump should have listened to not do. Right? You guys used to brag about how, Trump never started any wars. How come you're celebrating a trade war that he started for no freaking reason?
I'm not celebrating a trade war, Dubs. Trump is doing what the U.S. needs to have done years ago.
No.
That's the part I'm trying to get you to bring up.
Bring back manufacturing. He does not have a magic wand. Even in 2019, he saw a manufacturing recession.
He doesn't have any companies that have committed investments to up their.
I'm sorry. It's going to take a decade, and during that time, automation is going to get even more efficient. And you don't want to have people going back to the kinds of jobs where you're seriously just on a line acting like a robot.
Yeah.
You believe that's going to happen, DJ?
Say that again, Zeus.
You believe Trump is going to bring manufacturing back with these tariffs?
I think that Trump will absolutely bring investment back into this country. Yes, sir. I think that he's already shown that he's got.
He's already losing the trade war because deals we were going to get, other people are getting now. Minerals. Hello, the Ukraine deal that he sabotaged in front of everybody. China is now making deals with people that he's alienated. Okay. Our former allies. Why? It's almost like he's doing it on purpose, like a true Manchurian candidate.
I think he's absolutely doing it on purpose.
No, but I mean to destroy us from within, because Russia was celebrating. Russian state TV was actually celebrating that he's doing this because it's hurting us, and China's going to benefit. And they have a better relationship with China than we do.
Dubs.
So you're okay with listening to Russian state TV now?
Dubs.
You're missing the point real hard, but that's your habit.
Dubs.
No, sir. I'm just doing exactly what you would do.
But listen, I do check on what Russian state TV does say about Trump, because I think that's what an open-minded person should be. I don't believe it. All right, but that's called doing research. It's a word you should look up, DJ. All right,
Yeah,
and you should expand.
So is
No. But Takesha, you were saying something. You were saying something to Dubs.
I'm gonna say it again. Dubs just said what I've been saying, Zeus.
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump, we are his retribution for not voting for him in 2020. He is not concerned about making America great again. He's tearing it down, and that's our punishment for rejecting a narcissist. Trust and believe what I'm saying. He's not trying to build us up. He's tearing us down, like Doug said, from the inside.
Okay.
DJ,
right.
DJ,
I gotta get back to work. But listen, it's amazing to me how many of these conversations always go to bashing Trump personally. We've had some very good discussions here about things that are going on, but in the bottom line, Takesha just made the statement that this is all retribution for not electing him in 2020. And that's the kind of statement that keeps anybody from realizing.
Let me ask you a question, DJ.
Every word. I mean every word I said, and I'm gonna stand
sure that you do.
And does Trump? Let me get this straight, DJ. Trump doesn't bash anyone in your world.
Oh, he absolutely bashes.
Oh, okay. Then why'd even bring that up? I think we're being very nice over here, because it could be a lot worse if I said what I really wanted to say. But it's nothing wrong with calling him what he is. There's nothing wrong with being descriptive. We're very descriptive over here, DJ, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Extremely descriptive of Donald Trump.
Is it a crime? Is it a crime to call something what it is? You know, if it's a horse, it's a horse. Okay. Oh, well, you shouldn't call it a horse. Come on, DJ. Get out of your feelings and get back to work. You might not have a job. You might not have a job in a few. I promise you, DJ. I don't think you're going to have a job.
Send me to the lake because I got to go.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, DJ's voluntarily asked to be dunked into the lake of fire. And so, DJ, your wish is my command. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what it is. Goodbye,
Thanks
DJ.
For having me up, man.
Yeah. You get back to work, DJ. And in the meantime and in between time, we'll deal with this. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what we got to do. Let's send DJ where he came from, right back to hell.
Silence, you MAGA demon.
Sickening. Thank you, everyone on the panel. W's in the chat for the panel. you know, these demons, he has the strong demonic force. He will try to wrestle with as many people as he can, but he found out today it's not a good day to try to climb Mount Olympus with those lies. All right, and you all did an outstanding job on the panel. All right, thank you again, W. Closing remarks. Any last words before we get up out of here?
Yeah, you know, that DJ, he just makes my blood boil. That's about all I could say. You know, it's nonsense.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't even put his thinking into words. You know, like I said, instead of him listening to whatever the panelists were saying, he's thinking of the next thing he could say to deflect to, in other words, you know, he's got you walking on a tight wire. As soon as you think you got the footing correct, he came along and shook it with a gust of wind so you can fall off, you know?
Exactly.
He's that student or the person you've tried to help your entire life and that you know is smart enough to understand what you're saying, but his pride won't let him fix himself.
Exactly.
Sick.
Oh, he's going to learn. Give him a few more months, Zeus. But anyway, hey, panelists, everyone on the panel, RC, Val, Mr. Keisha, you guys take it easy. Brother Zeus, thank you very much for bringing me up.
You're welcome. W. Kabira. Any last words, Val?
You know, these policies, when I talk about generational wealth, I mean, what this man truly is everything that was bad about Reagan, everything that was bad about George W. Bush, and everything that was bad about Nixon. Put them in one person and then add policies to hurt the American people, and that is Donald J. Trump.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate it. All right, Dubs, my brother.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much second everything everybody said, what Val just said. I feel like that's why they voted for him again, was to continue the division and hatred, but now it's backfiring on them. They wanted to own the libs so bad. Now they're owning their own bank accounts.
It feels good if I were a Trump supporter to be going broke, all right, but not being woke. All right, well, thank you, Dubs. Takesha, go ahead and send us on off the right way if you don't mind.
I'm going to say it again, Zeus.
Talk to
Donald
him.
Trump is out to get the American people as retribution for us rejecting him because he's a narcissist and they can't handle rejection. It is 2025 and this man is still talking about somebody stole the election in 2020. You get over loves quicker than he can get over losing this election, Zeus. And it's all about how he's going to pay us. That's why he alienating us. That's why he's with the people that's against us, and he taking the ones that's for us away. You better believe this is retribution. I don't care what MAGA say. I don't care what DJ say. I said it when he got in, that we're going to be retribution for rejecting him. And that's all I got to say.
All right.
Evil demon Donald Trump.
Amen. W Takesha, W Dubs, W Val, W Kabira. All right, well, listen, thank you all so much. All right, we're gonna move it along. All right, that's what you call doing the Lord's work on a Tuesday. Thank you again to that amazing panel. Yeah, I mean, I did DJ and it was just easy pickings after that. We brought him up and it was, literally, he got annihilated. DJ, I gotta say this, bro. I don't know how you can actually be at work right now and think that, you know what, this is a good thing. You might not have a job in a few more weeks, DJ, at the rate we're going, and that's why I asked you to take the limit of the function. All right. My goodness. All righty then. Let me see. Who do we got next? Oh my goodness. Look at that. Nutty, what do you got for us this morning, Nutty?
So for a Tuesday, that was quite the panel you just had there.
Wasn't that was, we put it on thick this morning on DJ. He'll never try to climb Mount Olympus again. I'm pretty sure he doesn't want that headache.
That was an amazing panel. I thoroughly enjoyed the panel, but what I don't understand, Zeus, Val is 100% correct in his assessment of DJ, of being that student who was absolutely smart enough to know better, but he's that person that your grandmama looked at you and said, "Oh, You don't believe fat meat's greasy, huh? Now I know. You see the response that I just evoked from you when I said that statement.
Oh,
because those of us that are in the culture, we've heard that statement, right?
Yeah,
we know the gravity of that statement. We know the gravity of that statement,
correct.
And we know that when we hear that statement coming from our elder, we know that we better shape up immediately, like 20 minutes ago, immediately.
Exactly.
Because what's coming next is something that our behinds did not want. So we know the gravity of that statement.
That part.
And it's unfortunate that someone as intelligent as DJ. Now y'all forgive me. I just actually called someone who voted for Donald Trump intelligent.
Yeah, it's hard to do. I get it.
It is, but DJ is an intelligent person.
Oh God, I hate when you say that.
I hate it too. But you know what? What do we always say, Zeus? Tell the truth and shame the what?
Devil.
You shame the devil. DJ is absolutely an intelligent person. So this is why DJ, when he gets up in this box, this is why DJ is more dangerous than Tiny Tank Top Tim.
I like how you brought that in.
DJ is more dangerous than MOD. DJ is more dangerous than Jammin. DJ is more dangerous than all of these. Janae, Stacy. He's more dangerous than all of them. And why do I say that, Zeus? Because none of those people have sense. None of them. They're stupid as stupid does.
Lord have mercy. That's Nutty's opinion, ladies and gentlemen. That's Nutty's opinion.
That's not my opinion. That's just facts.
Woo, Nutty, you wild.
They are stupider than a box of bricks. All right? That's not DJ. That's not DJ.
That's deep DJ right there.
DJ has a level of intelligence that it's dangerous because he gets up in here he has conversation, right?
And he's respectful as well. He controls the demon a lot better than those characters that you listed. I'll give him that.
That's why I say he's more dangerous, because someone like DJ is very calculated. They're thinking about, like Takesha said, or whoever said it. Instead of listening to learn and to absorb information that's given from a different perspective, he's listening to respond and say, well, no. He's not listening to he didn't listen to anything the panel said. He was listening to give you a rebuttal. And that's what's wrong with every single one of us in this country.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'll call myself out too, Zeus. Because I find myself doing that at times, because I cannot stomach MAGA so much that there are times when they're speaking that I'm not listening to learn anything from them, because I have a very low tolerance for stupidity.
Well, to me, it's the same, right? I don't understand how people that are so smart can actually bring themselves to vote for somebody they know. If you just looked at them on paper and took the names away, you would say, obviously, Trump is not qualified. I don't know how they did that and then try to say they're intelligent. It makes no sense to me.
But here's the kicker. Everything that you brought up to him, he said, oh, no, this is absolutely good for America. This is absolutely good for the United States. What's good for the United States when we alienate ourselves and we tell our allies to kick rocks? What's good? What's good? Do we think that our army... Do we think that our armed forces is that magnanimous that we cannot be defeated at all? Is that the thinking that we have? That anybody that tries to come after the United States, you better watch out, because we have a military that's better than anyone else's military. But you know what? That may be true. But can we withstand dozens of countries?
Where'd you go, Nutty?
At one time, coming against one military.
Well, not only that, but okay, your signal went out. But even if we are strong, you're only as strong as your weakest link. And right now, our weakest link is Pete Hegseth. Pete Keg's breath, Whiskey Pete. I'm just thinking to myself, do you think Vladimir? Do you think Putin Xi look at Pete and go, "Oh, this guy means business. We better listen."
Oh,
to
they're
him.
not afraid of him. They're laughing. But see, this is where I disagree with you, Zeus. He is not our weakest link.
Oh,
our weakest link, you want to, and this is really hard for me to say this. Our weakest link is the United States citizens.
Oh,
that's
now you went somewhere. I thought you were going to say Trump, but
see, because Trump
Nutty's on a roll today.
Be our weakest link. Trump can't even be our weakest link because Trump didn't put himself in office. Trump did not put himself in office. We are our own worst enemy. You talk about the enemy within. Our enemy.
You mean MAGA, or the people that voted for Trump, or are you saying all Americans?
Well, people know what I'm talking about because we know that all of us did not vote for that devil.
Thank you, Thank you.
I'm specifically talking about the people who voted for Donald Trump and the people who didn't vote. I'm including those people in that category, and the people who were constantly not people like Mishi. I'm not even talking about Mishi. That was Mishi in the past, right? But Mishi woke up and said, "You know what? This is not right." So we can give grace to those who said, "Yes, I absolutely voted for my pocket, and I voted for him once or twice." But no, I can't do that anymore. We give grace to those people. We don't absolve them from the beating that they're gonna get, but we give grace to them, and we welcome them into the fold. But the weakest link are the people who still support this man.
Yeah,
and then call themselves a patriot.
Yeah,
there's nothing patriotic about that. So with that being said, I'm going to get on out of here because I got a lot to say and you don't have time for me to say it. Thank you so much for letting me up.
You're welcome.
I just had to give shout outs to your panel because I was sitting back listening to them and I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
I'm like the level of intelligence that this man has on this panel right now is bar none.
Yeah, well, he's doing what he can to try to defend. That's why I call him Scott Jennings. And what I'm waiting for is I'm waiting for them to get on national television and say Donald Trump has to go. That's when you know the will of MAGA has snapped. When these folks they just start saying, well, what do you? Because he kind of got there, Nutty, when he said, well, what do you think he should do? And I didn't say anything. And then he goes, you think he should be impeached? Now, who put that in his head? I didn't say anything.
No, I don't.
He came up with that on his own.
I don't think he should be impeached. I think they should open the doors to the White House and let me in and let me take my lasso and my whip and beat his ever living 215 pounds right out of the people's house.
You saying that he needs a whooping?
Right out of the people's house.
Yeah. Yeah,
I want to tan that hide outside the people's house.
Lord have mercy, Nutty. You definitely are off the rails today. Oh my goodness.
No, because seriously, Zeus. So he is an enemy to the United States.
I can't. Your signal, your blue.
Oh, I'm
okay.
He's an enemy to the United States, and for people to still continue to just support him and not see that, it's on them. But let me get out of here, Zeus. You have a wonderful day.
All right. You too, bro. Ladies and gentlemen, Nutty. W's Nutty in the chat. No lies detected. Oh my goodness. All right. I seen somebody saying MAGA Queen wants to come up and talk to Big Zeus. I don't know why, MAGA Queen. Why do you want to come up here and deal with trying to, it's very difficult, MAGA Queen, to try to climb Mount Olympus. So I would encourage you to just continue to listen to this special broadcast and go ahead and sit your special behind down. All right. And in the meantime, in between time, we'll go ahead and proceed with wrapping things up. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, listen, I got to get up out of here. What a great show. Thank you to all of the subscribers, gifters, moderators, and panelists. Without you, this show wouldn't be as educational, engaging, and entertaining. Thank you. All right, but let's also give one last round of booze and shame, and this goes out to all the Zeus haters out there, and these are not just my haters, these are also your haters. These people, they do what DJ is doing. They see the writing on the wall. They know Donald Trump has delivered nothing that is actually helping everyday Americans. Instead, everything Donald Trump has delivered is harming everyday Americans. And yet and still, they continue to stand behind him and support him and his incompetent administration to levels we've never seen before, despite the fact we all see it. We're heading towards a 1929 style depression, one like we've never seen before, because this one, there won't be any eggs. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and send them straight to hell. All right, ladies and gentlemen, take care and stay safe out there in those TikTok streets. Don't do nothing I wouldn't do. We're out of here. Deb, thank you, Deb. Have a great rest of your morning. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. MAGA knows that the writing is on the wall. There's only so much you can do. You can only pretend like there's gas in the car, MAGA, for so long before you get out and have to push. Right? MAGA is still trying to act like there's gas in the car right now. Oh, hey. WN. Thank you. Y'all know what it is. Hey, MAGA. Y'all running thin. It's looking nasty. Every day Americans are revealing how much they're suffering under this administration. And you all want to play games, and it's not going to last long, like I said, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Let's go. We got out of here on time today. This is what I like to do. All right. Sometimes we can go a little over, but all right. Let's get out of here with some drill, baby. Drill. All right. We got to get out of here. And you can go find the song online on YouTube. WW. Actually, anywhere you can download music, you can go find drill, baby drill. Be careful though. You'll get into a lot of trouble listening to this.
You know, they go crazy when I say the late great Hannibal Lecter, drill, baby, drill, we're gonna frack. Drill, there's a black frack. There's a baby, there's a lots of big energy. You know she's gonna bang you. Upper there, she was against stuck in the
Stay safe out there.
All the stuff, and then all the time we got a year to half ago.
What did she say?
She said, I like fracking very much. Look, they always go back to what they want. They always go back.
She can't help it. She's a radical.
She can't help it.
And we will frack.
And drill, baby, drill. We're gonna drill, baby, drill. We're gonna be drilled so deep. We're gonna be full.
What a great show, ladies and gentlemen. All right, that's what I like to see. A lot of humility. We're gonna lower your taxes. Deep insane asylums. You know they go crazy when I say the late great Hannibals. Drill, baby, drill. We're gonna frack. Drill, baby, drill like it's Hannibal Lecter. Hey, y'all have a great rest of your morning out there. Keep on. We got them on the ropes. All right, we have MAGA on the ropes. Keep hitting them, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Uh-oh. They go crazy when they say
the late great Hannibal Lecter.
Late great. Okay.
They say,
why would he mention Hannibal Lecter? Why? What are we gonna do?
We're gonna lower your taxes.
That part.
Deep insane asylum.
Right.
You know they go crazy when I say
what?
The late great Hannibal. Drill.
Lower your taxes. Deep insane asylums. You know they go crazy.
When I say the late great Hannibal. Drill, baby, drill.
Hello, can you go? Hey, hello, can you go? Drill, baby, drill like it's Hannibal Lecter time. We're gonna lower your taxes. Keep insane asylums. You know they go crazy when I say, how much do you owe? Don't worry, we're gonna pay off all your debt. We're gonna pay it all off. Oh, you owe the taxes? Don't worry, we're gonna lower those taxes, all right? Because that's what we gotta do, all right, baby? And then what we're gonna do is drill, baby, drill like you wouldn't believe. And then after that, we're gonna frack, because guess what? We got so much liquid gold underneath your feet, and all we gotta do is drill, baby, drill to get to it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm out of here. Take care and stay safe in these TikTok streets. Don't do